Well, if you turned on the news recently, you might have seen a story of a family that were caught driving nearly 200 miles just to go on a fishing trip. They'd driven overnight from their home in London, and just as they arrived into Torquay at 5 a.m, they were pulled over by the police, questioned, and then sent back home. Apparently, that doesn't count as an essential journey right now. Now, that was a long journey, something that's probably a distant memory for most of us. But I wonder if you can remember a journey that was so long, you completely forgot about how excited you were to get to your destination, and all you could think about was how uncomfortable you were. Perhaps you were driving in the car for hours and hours, and you were en route to a lovely holiday. And to begin with, you were really excited about where you were going, couldn't wait to get there. But then after a while, your leg starts to cramp up, and suddenly all you can think about is just how uncomfortable you are. It's fair to say that at that point, you'd lost your joy about where you were going. Well, the Bible refers to the Christian life as a bit of a journey. We're described as Christians as pilgrims or travellers in this land who are just passing through to our eternal home in heaven. And I wonder this morning, where are you finding your joy? As this lockdown life starts to feel more and more routine, we might find ourselves being worn down and we're not full of joy. And in moments like this, we can turn to Psalm 1, verses 1 and 2. It goes like this. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. There's an almost tangible sense of peace in those words, isn't there? You see, here we're given a picture of someone who is blessed. Now, we tend to use the word blessed in a very limited way these days. If someone is blessed, then we think of someone who has been blessed. We concentrate on that action. But actually, Psalm uses the word blessed to define the state of someone's heart. In verse 2, it says that it is someone who delights and has joy in God because they are fully aware of what God has done for them. Now, notice that in this psalm, the blessed, the joyful in God, they do not walk in the counsel of the wicked, stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of scoffers. Well, why does the psalmist use three phrases there when he could have just used one? Well, notice there's a pattern. Those who lose their delight in God, they go from walking to standing to sitting. So I want you to imagine you're walking through Cardiff town centre before any of this kicked off, and someone on the side of the street is calling out to you and they're trying to distract you from getting where you're going. Now, at first, as they call out to you, you might change your direction and start walking towards them. And then once they've got your attention, you might stand still and really start to listen to them. And then finally, once they've really won you over and got your attention, perhaps you'd even sit down with them and join them. Today, there are going to be influences that are going to try and convince us to find our satisfaction and our joy in things other than our salvation, things other than God. And it will be the small steps, the small changes in behaviour that might lead to that. But it says the blessed delight in the law of the Lord and meditate on his law day and night. Well, as Christians, we find delight by reading God's word. But how? Why? Well, it's not because we serve a shallow, transactional God that just gives us our daily ration of joy because we came and we read our Bibles. But we find joy in reading God's word because it reminds us of what he has already done for us. Psalm 32 describes the blessed like this. Blessed is the one whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Today, Christian, all of your transgressions, from the past, from today, from 30 years from now, they are all forgiven because Jesus Christ willingly took your place. All of your sin is covered because of the finished work of Christ on the cross. So can I encourage you, as I'll encourage myself, just to find 10 minutes today to wrestle with your heart, to find delight in what God has already done for you. Find that in his word today. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night.